presented by JK Tire Puncture Guard. Say goodbye to flat tire.
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today, your primetime destination. News, newsmakers, talking points. The big talking point, Donald Trump has raised tariffs on India now to 50%. How should India respond to Trump's weaponization of tariffs? Tonight, some of the Prime Minister's top economic advisors, part of his Economic Advisory Council, will join us. That exclusive coming up with them tonight. We'll have more for you on the show. But first, as always, it's time for the 9 headlines at 9. Donald Trump slams additional tariffs as penalty of 25% on India for buying oil from Russia. Says there will be a bigger hike if India chooses to retaliate. Cites a threat to US foreign policy behind his tariff war. India hits back over Trump's additional tariffs. The MEA calls the hike unfair, unjustified and unreasonable. Government says New Delhi will take all actions necessary to protect its national interests. Amid the Trump tariff strike over Russian oil, NSA Ajit Doval in Russia likely to hold a meeting with Vladimir Putin. Death, destruction and deluge in Dharali village of Uttarkashi. Over 190 rescued so far in the joint rescue ops. Chief Minister Pushkar Dhami to stay overnight in affected area. Official death toll is 5. Supreme Court asked the Election Commission to furnish details of 65 lakh deleted voters in Bihar's draft electoral rolls. Top court threatens to strike down the entire process if illegality found. Opposition to march on the EC's office on the 11th of August. Double whammy for actor Vijay Deverakonda. Enforcement Directorate questions Vijay an illegal betting app case. Protest against actor's film Kingdom. Film accused of portraying Tamils in bad light. Prime Minister Modi to make a 2-day visit to China at the end of the month. First prime ministerial visit since Galwan. He will also visit Japan for a bilateral dialogue this month. Air India to fully resume international flights by the 1st of October. 100% off since Air India Ahmedabad crash on June 12. Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis meets the Vantara team over the elephant Madhuri relocation. Says it will join the government's plea in the Supreme Court to bring back the elephant. But the big story that we are breaking tonight, US President Donald Trump has announced an additional 25% tariff on India. The total US tariff now on India has reached 50%, among the highest in the world. The government says the US actions are unfair, unjustified and unreasonable. The government of India has said we will take all actions necessary to protect national interests. Government says oil imports from Russia are designed to ensure energy security of 1.4 billion people. So clearly the tariff war, if anything, tonight has escalated between India and the United States. How is India now intending to respond as Trump escalates tariffs once again? Karishma Asudani from Business Today, Pranay Upadhyay, who tracks the Ministry of External Affairs, and Rohit Sharma in Washington are joining us at the moment. I want to come to you, Pranay, first because we've just got a Ministry of External Affairs response. Can you tell us exactly what the MEA intends to do? Lots of fine words in their response, but they're still not naming the US president anywhere.
Definitely, Rajdeep, you're absolutely right. Government of India, if you see the consecutive responses from Government of India, the Ministry of External Affairs, there is a caution, a carefully crafted statement where there seems to be no direct engagement with the US president, no engagement at the level of leadership in terms of his verbal, verbal attacks. But if you see the points, it's a 5-point statement. Earlier, we have seen the 6-point statement issued by Government of India, and now this is a 5-point statement in response to the executive order issued by by the US President Donald Trump. Clearly, there are two important things. One, what India did in terms of purchase of crude oil from Russia is actually driven by the market factors and also to ensure the energy security for 1.54 billion people. If you see, India's daily oil import is around 52 lakh barrel, and at the highest peak, the contribution of the Russian oil or Russian crude was only 40%, which comes to about around 20 lakh barrel per day. So if you see that thing, India wanted to make this point here is that what we did with the market factors, we did at the time when US wanted the market to be stabilized, and that's why India went to being the big importer of energy. We wanted to buy oil from Russia. Second, very important point, that India will take all actions necessary to protect the national interest. So India has linked it with the energy security and the national interest of India. The way we are purchasing oil, and this statement has come at a time when India's national security advisor Ajit Doval is in Moscow, and he will be holding important talks. And Russian President Vladimir Putin is also expected to visit India. So clearly, the message of strategic autonomy, the message of India's trade independence, and in a way, you rightly pointed out, Rajdeep, that this is an escalatory tone from the either side, because India has also given out a message that we are not going to buckle down to or succumb to this pressure.
Let's bring in Karishma Asudani. Karishma Asudani, what are India's options in terms of retaliatory trade? Is India at all speaking about any retaliatory tariffs, or just waiting for the situation to cool down in the Commerce Ministry in particular?
Rajdeep, our tone does not look like we are going to retaliate. In fact, if you see, we've been composed, we've been measured and calm in our responses. By the way, this has been the quickest that we have responded to the US for the comments that President Donald Trump has been giving us in the last few weeks pertaining to especially our trade with Russia. And if you look at this, this is a very classic Trump trade tariff theatrics, where he punishes and then he offers a floor of negotiations, saying that if you align with us, we'll roll it back. And he's done this with China, he's done this with EU, and he's now doing it with us. Now, Ministry of Commerce and of course Ministry of External Affairs, in total the government is keeping a strong eye on it. Officials in PMO have also been doing regular meetings regarding this, and especially pertaining to oil from Russia. Let's bring in data, Rajdeep. It's going to be very difficult to take an overnight decision of cutting off our trade with Russia when it comes to oil, because 40% of our dependence and import is from Russia, and we cannot cut it overnight, because that's going to put us in a lot of problem. And more than that, it's going to increase the crude oil prices, which I'm sure the US will also not like, because they'll also have to buy oil expensive from wherever they are buying, from different countries that they are sourcing it from. So in a way, we are playing the role of a mediator. I think it's just the clash of ego that's happening, a one-sided clash of ego, a lopsided chessboard that is being played, and I'm sure with negotiations this could be solved via proper diplomatic means.
Let me bring in Rohit Sharma from Washington. He's the one who broke that story earlier this evening. Rohit, what's the mood in Washington? Is Donald Trump in a mood to give India room to negotiate after a cooling off period, as some are suggesting? Or is he likely to simply go for the jugular at the moment? Is he trying to bully India in a way?
Well, it definitely is Rajdeep negotiating, from that standpoint, where he wants to send a message not only to India, but if you read the executive order, to all other nations also, he's putting them on notice as well. The silver lining, although, is that it's going to take effect 21 days from now, and the deadline of this executive order, when the additional 25% tariffs will take place, it would probably coincide with the end of the month, which is when the next trade level talks are scheduled to happen. So I think there is that breathing window of another 3.5 weeks where India might be able to get back on the negotiating table and try to offer something to Donald Trump. Like we already know, can't negotiate on dairy and those products, but what else can India offer? And I think that's why he's put in those 21 days in there to ensure that the negotiation can continue. And as far as President Trump is concerned, we've seen him on US media. He's been going on and talking about how Russia has been enabled, or India has enabled Russia to fight this war by purchasing oil. He did that yesterday. His NEC this morning said the same thing. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out in the next couple of weeks.
We leave it there. Our reporters joining us from different parts of India and the world, covering the ministries. I want to now turn to two very special guests. The Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council is a very high-profile economic advisory council, and two members, part-time members, are joining us. I'm joined by Dr. Sajid Chinoy, Managing Director, Chief India Economist at JB Morgan. He's a member of that Economic Advisory Council. Neelkant Mishra, Research Analyst, Chief Economist, Axis Bank, Head of Global Research, Axis Capital, also joins us, also someone who's been part of that Economic Advisory Council. Thank you both very much for joining me at this moment. First to you, Sajid, how are you reading what Donald Trump has gone and done today, a further 25% tariff? Are we heading into a very, very dangerous tariff war territory, weaponization of tariffs by the US president? Your first reaction?
This is unfortunate that Mr. Trump has to come to these levels because, if you step back, Rajdeep, at some level, what's happened over the last few weeks with high tariffs in different countries is not surprising. We're seeing a dramatic transformation of the global trading order in the last 6 months under the Trump presidency. It's important to recognize that the effective tariff rates that the US has imposed on other countries, is now about 16%. And if Mr. Trump follows through on his promises, will go to 20%. This is the highest level of effective tariffs in the US since the 1930s under the Smoot-Hawley Act. So you're seeing a lot of global trade disruption with high tariffs in the US. As a result of which we're going to see, China dumping a lot of its excess capacity to other economies, And so if you're a country like India or other emerging markets, you're now facing the twin threat of a much more protectionist global economy, much more economic balkanization, and potentially a China shock 2.0, where all this manufacturing capacity from China, which was headed to the US, think of the US putting up a tariff wall like a dam. It kind of floods adjoining areas. So these are troubling times. These are worrying times. The hope is, however, and we've seen this in the case of other countries, that what Mr. Trump has done today is used as negotiating leverage. Remember, with China, the tariffs had gone to 145%. And then when things got dialed down, the tariff on China is 42%. Europe was threatened with a higher tariff and has come down. So let's hope that these tariffs only go into place 21 days from now, that over the next 3 weeks, some common ground can be found, and that today's announcements really are a negotiating strategy.
How do you see it, Neelkant Mishra, your first reactions to what Donald Trump has done really over the last 24 hours?
Well, I agree with Sajid and some of your colleagues who were earlier speaking that this is a negotiating tactic. The pattern is that whenever you see negotiations stalling, where both sides have kind of drawn the red line, say we're not going to cross it, President Trump tends to escalate matters. And it's one of those, I'll hurt myself just to hurt you. And he'll keep escalating it till the time that both parties start talking and some red lines are breached. So I would use this as I would see this as one of those measures. And remember that his own tactics keep changing. So it seemed when he came to power that he was going to do a reverse Nixon, that he was going to get closer to Russia so as to corner China. Now that he's seeing that he signaled, despite his out of the deal, he signaled too early that he was going to be pro-Russia. And so the Russians are demanding their own pound of flesh. And now he's trying to corner the Russians by getting closer to China and also pressuring India. So this is pure diplomacy. I don't think we should extrapolate this as tariffs, say 6 months down the line on India.
Very interesting, your viewpoint. Sajid Chinoy, let's look at the economic impact, if any. Nomura has flagged a potential 0.2% point downside risk to growth. ICRA on Monday revised India's FY26 GDP growth forecast from 6.2% to 6%, citing US tariffs and uncertainty. What kind of impact do you see on Indian growth rates in the short and medium term?
Well, it's undeniable that there's going to be some impact on growth. The fact is about 2.3% of GDP of India's exports go to the US. The US is India's largest export destination. Having said that, 25% of those are exempt because they're pharmaceuticals, electronic goods. The value addition, one would argue, is even lower. So it's closer to about 1.2 or 1.3% of GDP in terms of what's value added that's exposed to the US. So there is going to be some impact, and that's inevitable. For me, however, the real issue is in the near term, if we can, over the next few weeks, try and reach some agreement with the US. If these 25% tariffs last for a month or so, I think India can absorb the hit given what's at risk. What we don't want to do is for this to linger on, for too long, because the real cost to the economy for me is not the impact on exports. The real cost really is that, until recently, India was being seen as a real viable China plus one alternative. 7 years ago, China plus one meant investments were going to ASEAN economies, the Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand. Now with those economies, in the crosshairs as well, they've been accused of transshipment. There's a sense that to really diversify away from China, you have to go to economies like India. So that is the real opportunity for India in all of this. So I think the balancing act here is that there could be a short-term cost. However, if we can use the next few weeks or the next couple of months to negotiate what we think is a fairer, more equitable deal, then we can avoid the larger cost, which for me is investment, animal spirits, the signaling cost of India being an attractive, viable China plus one destination.
But how should Nilkant Mishra, India respond? There are those who've been talking about retaliatory tariffs. There are others who are saying allow for a cooling off period. There's also a view that maybe India should reduce some of its oil imports from Russia, which has become the sticking point for Donald Trump. How do you think what is the best way to respond according to you?
So the first thing first, buying oil from Russia, whatever President Trump may say or Western media may say, is not a very big advantage for India. In the sense that the gap between Brent crude, which is India's standard grade, and the Urals grade, which is what Russia exports generally, it used to be $30 in 2022. It fell to $20 in 24, $10 last year, and then about $5 right now. Landed price adjusted for the higher insurance, etc., is now $2 difference. So India is saving $1 or $2 billion a year. So I think this whole economic impact, and frankly, given that we were importing so little from Russia till 3 years back, switching back to other grades is maybe take a few months, but it's not really going to break the bank. So I don't think...
Are you saying that's what we should do, Dr. Mishra? Are you saying that we should sort of look to diversify beyond Russia?
I don't think President Trump even intends. I think this is just a ruse, in my view, to just get India back to the negotiating table. He wants an excuse. You must have seen that video that was circulating where he was asked that, look, you are also buying so much from Russia. And he said, yeah, I didn't know that. So the point is, he's, I think, deliberately raising the stakes so that trade negotiation can happen. I think we have to also see this as an opportunity on taking some hard decisions which we had earlier been unwilling to take, because, frankly, it is pressure like this where you feel isolated, which brings the country together. And so if there are tough economic decisions that need to be taken, I think those decisions, perhaps this is an opportunity for us to undertake reform, build more domestic demand, accelerate monetary transmission. So there are many economic measures. Frankly, I believe that the path to 6.5–7% sustained growth over the next 3 to 5 years lies purely in the domestic markets, and this may need diplomacy, different types of levers to be pulled. Frankly, it is not just an economic discussion. So I would suggest that we use this opportunity to dial down or dial up on the domestic reform process and take some tough economic decisions which actually rate on a higher pedestal going forward.
Interesting. Sajid, your view, should we be doing what the Brazilians are doing at the moment, virtually looking Mr. Trump in the eye, what the Chinese are doing, who are also holding firm? Is that the way to deal with Donald Trump and hope that he will back off? Or should India sort of retaliate? What's your view?
No, I don't think it's wise to go in for retaliatory tariffs. I think the first thing is to understand what it is that Mr. Trump wants, because what we've seen over the last few weeks is a moving target. The original ask was that India's tariff levels are high and India should reduce tariffs. Now the ask is, well, we should buy less Russian crude, and that's ostensibly why the additional tariffs have gone in. Well, I think, someone also has to explain to the US team that India imports 1.7 million barrels from Russia. If we were to slowly diversify away from Russia, the macroeconomic impact on India is modest. The current account is extremely benign. Inflation is low. The premium or the discount that we get from Russia is only about $4 to $5 a barrel. So the impact on India from moving away from Russian purchases to other countries is not large. But we mustn't forget the general equilibrium impact. If India stops buying 1.7 million barrels from Russia, right, and supply doesn't increase commensurately, and there's no reason to believe why it will. I don't think either US shale production or US or OPEC can increase supply to that extent. Then global crude prices will rise dramatically, and that's going to affect everybody adversely, most of all the US consumer. So I think the idea should be, what is it that the Americans want at this point in time? How can we, with cooler heads, with wiser counsel on the US side, reach a win-win situation? Trade is all about win-win. There are deals to be had where, India can use this opportunity to bring some import tariffs down, which will help Indian consumers, can use this opportunity to reform, and the US will get something as this. So if we can find a win-win, I think that would be the advisable end game. For now, I think, we need a cooling off period where hopefully things can de-escalate.
It's interesting. Both of you are actually seeing an opportunity in what Donald Trump is doing, particularly reform. You have a specific reform, Dr. Chinoy, if I may ask, which you could see as an opportunity amidst all this noise of tariff war, a specific area?
So, the budget, the economic survey earlier this year had passionately called for deregulation. The budget had announced the Deregulation Commission. The Prime Minister has spoken about this a few times. This would be a wonderful way to actually announce a Deregulation Commission, and, with a broad mandate to actually say that we want to genuinely ease the cost of doing business in India, because the signal we want to send, Rajiv, the whole point of this trade deal, the reason we have a deal with the UK, the reason we want to have a deal with the US, the reason we want to have a deal with the Euro area is to give the sense that India is very much open for business. And if you relocate in India and manufacture over here and create jobs over here, you will have a frictionless access to global markets. Now, in addition to that frictionless access, what is attractive to foreign companies and domestic companies is that, setting up firms, starting firms, doing business is more costless. And so I think the Deregulation Commission, for one, or for example, actually implementing the labor laws, we can go ahead with privatization, which will send a powerful reform signal and generate fiscal resources to buffer the impact of this the US tariff. There are any number of reforms one can think of. This would be an opportune moment. Our history is littered with examples where adverse global shocks have induced more reforms at home.
Interesting the way both of you are putting it. Nilkant Mishra, Dr. Mishra, you mentioned Donald Trump's reaction at that press conference. I just want to play what he was asked. When he was asked about America importing from Russia, what did he have to say when that question was asked in the context of uranium? Listen in and I'll come to you, Dr. Mishra, in a moment.
India says that the US imports Russian uranium, chemicals, fertilizers, while criticizing their energy imports. Your response to that, sir?
I don't know anything about it. I'd have to check, but we'll get back to you on that. Yeah, please.
Should we then be exposing American double standards, you believe, Dr. Mishra, or just stay out of that and focus, as you said, on just getting our act together when it comes to reform so that we are more prepared for this more uncertain world around us?
No, absolutely. And I think as we think about even the US-India relationship, remember that it is going to be a complex relationship. As you look at what the US is doing to Canada, look at what it is doing to Mexico, Look at what it was trying to do to the UK before they finally sort of bent the knee and came to an agreement. It is, as the diplomats say, we have to forget the binaries. So there will be, the day where the 25% tariffs were announced, the newspaper headlines right next to that had the launch of NISAR, which is ISRO and NASA working together. As you talk to some of the US diplomats in India, there is a very deep-rooted commitment to helping India get access to the right technologies, shore India's stature up, build India's economy. And it may be selfish, but at this stage, that commitment is very deep-rooted. So to use this and start getting into a street fight and, you punched me, I'm going to counter-punch you. I think stable heads, calm heads, think about what is it that what has triggered this decision, and try to address it, see what concessions can be given, and come to a transaction. Come to make a deal. And therefore,
do we have the kind of leverage? Do we have the kind of leverage, Dr. Mishra, to do that kind of deal, a comprehensive deal? Let's say China has greater leverage with the US. Do we have any kind of leverage, you believe, with the US to strike a broader trade deal?
Look, if you want to look for leverage, you can look for leverage. You can get a lot of leverage. There are many things that, for example, India supplies 50% of drugs by volume to the US. You stop shipments, they may have 3-4 months of inventory. I think the US will start running out of medicine. So, frankly, we shouldn't be even thinking of going down that path. I don't think this is a sign of a strategic break from India. This is, as I said, a ruse, a stratagem to break a deadlock in the trade negotiations. And so we have to treat it like that. I don't think going down we will block rare earths. Frankly, if you think about it, 50% of drugs by volume come from India in the US. And they don't want to go to China. I don't think there's any other place where you can make drugs at that volume. The fact that we are not even thinking of those things is a very important factor, and I don't think we need to go down that path.
Okay, so I think we've got two economists telling us very, very clearly, fine economic minds telling us, play it cool, be focused, and importantly, use this as an opportunity to fix our own economy and bring in the crucial reforms that we need for our own growth rates at the moment. I appreciate Dr. Neelkant Mishra and Dr. Sajid Chinoy both of you for joining me here at the top of the news tonight. Thank you very much. I think having got that economic perspective, let's turn to the politics, because politicians are now using the opportunity to score political points. Leader of the opposition, Rahul Gandhi, has already reacted to this additional 25% tariff by the US, calling it an attempt to bully India into an unfair trade deal. Rahul Gandhi, remember, earlier today had also claimed that Trump is leveraging an ongoing investigation against Indian industrialist Gautam Adani to get India to agree to a trade deal on the US's terms. The BJP has lashed out, pointing out that the Modi government is resisting American actions. Take a look at the politics behind Trump's actions.
US President Donald Trump's tariff war on India is becoming ammunition for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's political adversaries. Leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi on Wednesday, in a post on X, claimed that the Prime Minister was not standing up to President Trump despite his repeated tariff threats. The Congress leader claimed this was due to the ongoing US investigation into industrialist Gautam Adani. He also claimed that there was a threat to expose the links between PM, AA and Russian oil deals.
ट्रंप ने मोदी जी का अपमान किया, तो देश का अपमान किया। तो जननायक राहुल गांधी जी का अभी एक्स पर पोस्ट आया कि मोदी जी इसलिए डरे हुए हैं, चुप हैं, सहमत हैं, सहमे हुए हैं कि अडानी के खिलाफ में कार्रवाई या जांच चल रही है अमेरिका में। अडानी के इंटरेस्ट में पूरे देश का अपमान हो रहा है। बहुत ही अपमान करने वाली बात है।
The BJP hit back at the Congress leader.
He intentionally make such type of statement in outside the parliament and through the social media, because he less understands the issue of common people.
Rahul Gandhi had made similar claim on the day Trump imposed 25% tariff and described the Indian economy as dead.
Everybody knows that the Indian economy is a dead economy. I'm glad that President Trump has stated a fact. BJP ने इकोनॉमी को खत्म कर दिया है. क्यों खत्म किया है? अदानी जी की मदद करने के लिए खत्म किया.
The leader of opposition had faced criticism for parroting Trump's line on the state of the economy, when the International Monetary Fund in its recent report had described India as a bright spot and the fastest growing large economy.
हमारी इकोनॉमी 1999 से जो बढ़नी स्टार्ट हुई, जब तक कि ये कांग्रेस ने जो है तमाशा नहीं किया, चिदम्बरम और सभी लोगों ने करप्शन स्टार्ट नहीं किया, तो 2007-8 तक भारत की इकोनॉमी 8-9% के रफ्तार से बढ़ती रही. आज हमारे पास मौका है, हमारे पास नेतृत्व है.
While Trump's announcement of tariffs could be a negotiating tactic to put the Modi government under pressure, it has shaken up the domestic politics here in India. Bureau Report, India Today.
Okay, let's raise some big questions ahead of our political face-off now on Donald Trump tonight. Should the government opposition now unite on the tariff war against that's building up? Should the government of India be tackling Donald Trump head-on? What should be India's political response? That's the question we want to raise. Joining us now, Sanju Verma is National Spokesperson BJP, Salman Soos, Spokesperson Congress. I want to come to you, Mr. Soos, first, because Rahul Gandhi has once again stirred it up by claiming that India doesn't want to take on Donald Trump because Prime Minister Modi wants to protect Gautam Adani, who has legal cases against him in the United States. Now, there will be those who will suggest that that is again making an allegation without any evidence. Is Rahul Gandhi simply trying to somewhere again, yet again, link Modi and Adani?
Rajiv, I think we really have to follow a timeline here. On both politics, foreign policy, and also on economics. On economics, I can tell you that since 2018, the Indian economy has become far more protectionist, and the government and the BJP will claim that they're doing it for the farmers and the dairy industry, but it is all rubbish. Basically, they're protecting some of the biggest conglomerates in India who need no protection. Our big industrial powerhouses, these giant companies that Mr. Modi wants to create national champions out of, they should be competing on the global stage and they should be exporting a lot to the world. But what are they doing? They basically have a stranglehold on the Indian economy. And that is what Mr. Modi and the BJP...
No, how? No. Salman Soos, you're making how is Modi protecting India's corporate interests? Where, let's be more specific. Let's not make generality. How is he protecting India?
I'm basically telling you that the India has, among the large economies, India has the highest weighted average tariffs of all countries, right? India's average tariff rate is 12%. Check any other country in the G20 and you'll see where India is. And why are we doing this? Because we're protecting the big conglomerates in this country. Now, second, Mr. Modi has made diplomacy. He tried to do personal diplomacy. He did this Howdy Modi event. He got Mr. Trump there, said, Ab ki baar Trump Sarkar. In 2020, he went to Ahmedabad, feted Prime Minister President Trump, Namaste Trump. Then he was the first to go to President Trump when he announced these tariffs, and he rushed to America. And then we made a big deal about Foreign Minister Jaishankar sitting in the front row. Remember, I don't know if you remember that. Then Mr. Modi went and met Elon Musk as if he was some sort of a head of state. He wasn't. He was one of the most reviled people in America. Right. So Mr. Modi has basically tried to kind of personalize diplomacy. And the result is that right now we're in deep trouble because almost 18% of our exports go to America. And don't for a moment think that we can just say, so what, let America do what we want, because we lose lots and lots of jobs in this country where jobs are already a problem.
Okay.
One final thing I'll ask you. One final thing. On yes. Russian oil, let me just add one point, then Sanju can respond at leisure. I want to ask a very simple question on behalf of the Indian people. If America encouraged India to buy oil from Russia to stabilize global markets, as the government statement says, and I want to ask who benefited from that? If we got cheap Russian oil and sold it, who made money? Because the Indian people did not get any savings on petrol and diesel. Somebody made money. Who was it?
Okay,
That should be made clear to the people of the country.
I've given you 2.5 minutes uninterrupted. Sanju Verma, respond. Let's start with the last point, because that is becoming contentious. The government again has responded saying, look, we've been importing oil from the Russians to ensure the energy security of our people. The opposition is saying this is being done to benefit a few corporates who made windfall profits. Respond to that, and then the other points that are made by Salman Soz, saying that Modi's diplomacy towards Trump was personalized and has failed.
You know, Rajdeep, I was looking at my watch. Salman Soz spoke for 3.5 minutes. But be that as it may, I will go with your watch. First and foremost, I want to know if my audio is clear, because, your voice is breaking.
It's very clear, madam. It's very clear.
Okay, glad to hear that. Now, let me debunk the lies by Rahul Gandhi and the entire Darbari ecosystem. First point, the Congress spokesperson mentioned India's tariffs are on the higher side, and hence Trump is retaliating. This is in the public domain. You can have your fact checkers do the fact check. India's average tariffs, as far as USA goes, are 4.6%. The EU has tariffs of 5%. Vietnam has tariffs of 5.1%. Then you have Bangladesh 10.6%, Indonesia 5.7%. Why have I named these countries? Because these are some of the biggest trading partners of the United States of America. The second point, that Russian oil has come cheap, but the Modi government has not passed the benefit. November 2021, the Modi government reduced central excise on petrol and diesel by 5 rupees and 10 rupees per litre respectively. Come May 2022, the Modi government reduced excise duty on petrol and diesel by 8 and 6 rupees respectively. Now what happened? Opposition ruled states which have the freedom to levy value-added tax back, they refuse to give any respite to customers. And you can have your fact checkers, correct me if I'm wrong. Let me read out some of the VAT rates on petrol and diesel in opposition ruled states. ये मोदी सरकार ने ऐसा नहीं किया, नरेंद्र मोदी ने वैसा नहीं किया, टीवी डिबेट पर आकर धुआंधार भाषण देने की कोशिश करते हैं, but the hard reality is, in Tamil Nadu, Congress's alliance partner, the VAT on fuel is 34.7%. Telangana, Congress ruled state, 35.2%. Himachal Pradesh, Congress ruled state, 33.4%. Kerala, a left-ruled state, 37.6%. So next time you accuse the Modi government, you need to introspect and ask yourself, Rahul Gandhi, Telangana mein average average VAT on fuel, 35.2%. Fuel average VAT on fuel 1 minute. Himachal Pradesh mein 33.
Ma'am, you've made these points. You've raised these states. May I therefore, because we have limited time, also ask you? Just a minute. Ma'am, for the last 5 months, the Modi government has been involved in intense trade regulation. The Prime Minister himself went to Washington, and many are saying that he thought his personal chemistry with Donald Trump would be enough to get India a win-win trade deal. Has the government miscalculated? Did government of India get Trump 2.0 badly wrong? Are you willing to accept that or not?
Rajdeep, I'm a keen follower of your tweets when you say a big story that caught my eye. Now when you write next time a big story that caught your eye, please don't fail to mention this and don't interject me. It's my humble request. What Donald Trump says, what the Darbari ecosystem says, what dead wood Rahul Gandhi says, I couldn't care 2 hoots, because I will go as per facts, and the facts are these. For the same Rahul Gandhi who shamelessly says India is a dead economy, Rajdeep Sardesai, in 10 seconds I will debunk those lies. We are the world's 4th largest economy. We have the world's 4th largest forex reserves. We have the world's 7th largest gold reserves. We are the world's 6th largest stock market in terms of market capitalization. We are the world's 2nd largest smartphone market. We are the world's 3rd largest car producer. We are the world's 3rd largest solar energy producer.
I asked you whether Narendra Modi has misread Donald Trump. You've gone in another direction. No. I asked you a question. No, you must answer my question. Did Narendra Modi get Donald Trump wrong? Yes or no?
No, please wait. Please wait. Rajdeep, I'm not here to teach you your job. But ideally, I have never seen you asking Rahul Gandhi when we are talking about a sensitive issue like tariffs. Adani Ambani kahan se aa gaye? Main ek baat bolna chahti hu na, Rajdeep, please bear with me for 30 seconds without heckling, because my answer will actually expose the hypocrisy of Darbari ecosystem, including Darbari journalists. When was Adani's commodity trading business established? 1988, when Congress was in power in both Gujarat and in the center. 1993, Adani Flagship Enterprises was set up when Congress was in power in center, and 2005, Adani got controlling stake of Mundra Port when Congress was in power. 2006, Adani was given, I hope you will mention this, Adani was given approval for his SEZ, and land was given to Adani by the Congress at 10 rupees per square meter, my friend. Yes, 10 rupees per square meter. And by the way, my final point, please. Do you remember, Rajdeep, I have done a lot of debates with you. Do you remember we did a debate where you told me, Sanju Verma, Adani is saying that SBI and LIC are going to go bankrupt. Rajdeep Sardesai ko jankar khushi hogi. Last year, SBI reported a net profit of almost 71,000 crore, the highest it has ever done in post-independent India. And LIC posted a net profit of 40,000 crore. Do you have the guts to ask Rahul Gandhi? What is he demonizing SBI?
Madam, I've heard you. I will give Salman Soz therefore a final word. Salman Soz, why not have a more serious, considered debate on what's going on? It's not just India, but Trump is using tariffs as a weapon across the world. Therefore, to use this to once again single out Adani in some way, that there is some Adani factor, that's why Trump is not being mentioned. What do you want Prime Minister Modi to do? To confront Donald Trump on a daily basis? Is that what you want? Your voice has been mute.
Rajdeep, I just want to say that there are many things to talk about, because Sanju Verma keeps talking, and she'll talk about a lot of data, but I think people must understand that she's using data selectively. When she talks about opposition rule states, she will not say, for example, that Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan have among the highest petrol and diesel prices in this country. Why is that? She will not say. She'll say Tamil Nadu ne ye kiya. She will not say why BJP ne aisa kiya. But there are a couple of things that we should, coming to your question, we must keep in mind that Prime Minister Modi has backed himself into a corner as far as Donald Trump is concerned. There is a failure. This is clearly not simply about Russian oil, Rajdeep. Something more is going on. He's basically turning the screws on Prime Minister Modi, and he has, to my mind, and to the minds of many, forget what.
No, madam, please no.
Let me finish. You got a lot of time. There is a lot of people already are talking about that there are certain weaknesses because of this monopoly, kind of oligopolies that Prime Minister Modi has created in India. Now there are weaknesses. Why did Mr. Adani resign just yesterday?
No, please put a voice down.
Please don't interrupt me. He resigned as from Adani Ports as the executive chair. He's now the non-executive chair. Something is happening with the Russia oil deal. Why? Because some people made money. We have to understand. So the question is, if our foreign policy, if our own economy is being held hostage to promote the interests of a few big business establishments, what does that do for the Indian people? And by the way, I want to ask BJP one question. How is India's economy strong if 800 million people are on free food? You have basically decimated
Okay,
people in this country.
we will have a separate debate on the state of the Indian economy. I wanted responses to what Donald Trump has done. Sanju Verma and Salman Soos, appreciate your joining us. Thank you very much. And Sanju Verma, do go back home and see how much time you got and how much time Salman Soos got before accusing me next time on Twitter of giving more time to Mr. Soos. Let's take a break. When we return, we're going to turn to our ground report tonight. Death, destruction and deluge in Dharali village of Uttarakhand. Over 190 people have been rescued so far, but the situation still remains grim. Back on the other side with our ground report.
How has he seen it all?
Moto G96 5G.
All eyes on you.
Hello, Moto. मंगलदीप, दिल से करो बात भगवान के साथ।
मंगलदीप धूप कोन्स 2 गुनी खुशबू के साथ दे पूजा का बेहतर अनुभव।
Back, let's turn to tonight's ground report, and our ground report comes from Uttarkashi, where a devastating flash flood in Dharali region has unleashed chaos in the Himalayas, swallowing homes, sweeping away everything in its path. Now, officially at least 5 people have died, but many are still missing. Round-the-clock rescue ops are being conducted to provide relief. It's our ground story tonight.
Flash floods bury large chunks of Dharali village. A day later, at ground zero, rescue work is badly affected. The village is almost cut off from the rest of the state. Moving the heavy machinery to the epicenter to remove the debris is proving to be a struggle. The national highway to Gangotri has suffered heavy damage at multiple points, which means many rescue workers have had to walk through the forests.
This is point number 1, and then about a kilometer ahead there is point number 2, where there is damage again, and that's a much longer damage. This is about 60 meters, as we were just told by the PWD official, and then beyond that is about 100 meter or a 150 meter long crack or sinking of the road that we have seen. So we are hoping that this will be fixed soon.
We are constantly in touch with BRO, and we are chalking out plan. Our first what we are trying to do is we are that initial choke point which is there, beyond which the heavy vehicles are not able to come. We are trying to send a poclane there, and after back cutting, maybe the heavy vehicles will be able to come to this point.
और ये इस तरह से जो धराली में घायल सैनिक है उनको हेलीकॉप्टर के जरिए यहाँ मातली में जो ITBP का कैंप है हेलीकॉप्टर के जरिए लाया गया है और अब इन्हें